Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. For those people who are new here, welcome. My name is Kristall Krona, and I sometimes post videos about the Elder Scrolls Online, but mainly in Swedish. But today, this video will be in English only. A few weeks ago, I got invited for a guided tour on High Isle with Jeremy Sera, who is lead content designer, and Ed Stark, who is song lead for The Elder Scrolls Online. At the end of the video, there will be a small Q&A, but let's dig into this video, and I hope you will enjoy it as much as I did.
Let me pass you over to Ed, and Ed will be our tour guide.
Hey there. I'm Ed Stark, zone lead for this zone. You last saw me working on Greymore and Merkmire. I've been doing other stuff.
Follow me, we'll head towards Ed.
Yep. I'm currently parked in the in Gonfalon Bay, the hub city of our area. I can see at least one person is here, Solifane. And when the rest of the group comes, I'll start with the tour guide. But as Jeremy said, High Isle was founded primarily by the Bretons, but it is kind of a neutral cosmopolitan setting. One of the things you'll notice as we run around the city, in particular, is the architecture is a very strong mix of older architecture, things that, buildings and stuff that have been here for, hundreds of years, and newer architecture, new construction, because High Isle has experienced kind of a resurgence as the Three Barons War has been going on Tamriel. High Isle is one of the few places people can come and kind of get away from the war and, even, negotiate or just have trade or intrigue, things like that. So let me see. Uh, when you get here, one of the things that you will see is a big statue in the Gonfalon Bay, in the actual bay the city is named after. And that is a statue to Admiral Bendu Olo. He was a famous sailor and warrior who helped lead the All Flags Navy when they went up against the Slode. And so there's this big statue that's been built for him. There are other statues and such around the isle. Most of them are historical figures similar to Bendu, but this is the biggest, baddest one. All right, I think we've got everybody now. Looks like it. All right. So anyway, follow me around the city. This is the area, this building here behind us is the Tales of Tribute kind of headquarters, play space. I'm not going to go in there because there's, other events that can talk about that. But I am going to kind of wander us around the city. We're going to head off east here, take a look out into the water. One of the things that I'm hoping that we'll get to see, oh, look, off to the right of the statue, off to the south, is a moving sailing ship. We have ships set up to sail around High Isle. You'll occasionally see them and other versions. This is kind of a new thing for Elder Scrolls Online, but thought it's interesting. As you can see, this area here is set up really as a lounge area, sort of a bar, play area where NPCs can move around, players can sit down and play Tales of Tribute games, things like that. Then we move into the more working part of the city. So I figured I would walk through the city, but when we get out in the wilderness, then we'll probably get on our various mounts. But
I don't know if you all heard it, but Bragas, who is the solo NPC that helps you do the storyline for Tales of Tribute, he is voiced by Billy Boyd. He was Pippin Took from the Lord of the Rings. It's always a fun kind of thing when you get to bring cool people back. Anyway, so he'll help guide you through the tribute storyline.
Yeah, he did a wonderful job. Here's another one of our kind of central locations, another statue, and you can see Lady Arabelle DeVoe, or at least most of you can if you haven't been playing on the server. She's inquiring about some ships. I'll give you a hint that has to do with our main quest. We're not going to get involved in that right now, but as you'll see, quest bestowers and stuff all over the city in our cases because the city again is a central hub of activity. It's got all of our traditional services and a number of quest related hooks. Uh, as you can see, part of the city uh, has this real old Breton castle feeling, like Jeremy was talking about. Uh, Big buildings, cathedrals, things like that that have been around for uh, literally centuries. Some of them show a little bit of disrepair, which shows some of the attention to detail our world builders do. Um, by the way, up here we have Mandrake Manor, which is Lady Arabelle's house. By the way, if Lady Arabelle's name sounds a little bit familiar, it should. She is reportedly the author of the Investigator Vale novels, which have appeared elsewhere in our game, and this is her first major appearance as a character in the game. Okay, so
You'll be coming to and from Mandrake Manor throughout the Zen story, sort of your hub of inside of the hub.
Mm-hmm. Heard the bells. Heading up through here, we've got all of our major buildings. We've got our Fighters Guild, we've got our Mages Guild, uh, everything that you need for your base game experience is in here. As Jeremy had pointed out, you don't need to play the base game to do anything here in High Isle, but all those services are available. We've got our banks. Oh, guys on NPCs on horseback, kind of also a new thing. See more of that around the island. We've got a couple of houses inside the city. If you open up your map, you'll actually see two house locations. We've got the traditional small berth, but then we've got hollow hold, which will be available. And I believe there's another house that's going to be available later on.
We're wandering through our daily section.
Yep. Yeah, all of our dailies set up there. And then through here, we've got our guild traders and we've got our general merchant district. And again, this is in our really kind of older section of the city, the really ornate section. But now we're heading out towards kind of what I think of as the working area section. We head past the palace, which is kind of like the governor's home and offices. So I leap down the stairs.
You get my attention.
And we're heading into a less...
Sorry.
I'm sorry?
You get my attention when you said there will be a new house.
Yeah, we always like to have another house available. I don't believe the third house is available at launch, but I think it comes out at U35. Is that right, Jeremy? Do you recall?
I don't think we ever actually announced specifically when they're coming out.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But, no, it's all right. But yes, we are excited. We love to see them. It's so cool seeing them integrated into the cities and into the various areas.
Yep.
Yeah, it's always fun. If we have time a little later, maybe we can run through
the
big one. The other one being the in-room, because we always make sure that there's an in-room for new players as well.
Yeah. So even though we went out that big gate, we are still technically inside the city. This is kind of like the working suburbs. This is the working dock. If you are a player who has played ESO before, there's a strong chance this will be your first entrance into the city. We've got boats that lead to all the various capital cities here, and this is kind of our working docks. You'll see people, carrying things around, hammering on stuff. This is a sort of a newer section of the city. It's got a lot of scaffolding, but this is where most of your trade arrivals and such come into the city and such. All right, heading out to the north, we passed an interior way shrine. If you open your map, you'll see it kind of centrally located in the city, very close to the daily bestowers. But then we've also got the West Bay way shrine for people who come in from other zones. This would be the default way shrine that's unlocked. As we come in, you'll actually see down here to the northeast, Jakarn, who is ready to give you a hook to the main quest. We have our battleground camps in that direction as well, but we're going to head off in the other direction to the west. Excuse me, just running over one of my maps. I've unlocked a bunch of stuff and come up with a path, and I want to, make all that work worthwhile. So everybody mount up, and over here is the exit to our tutorial. So as you can see, we have a number of ways to get in. You can take a boat, you can use the Druid's Gate from the tutorial if you're a new player or play a new character, or you can use the West Bay Way Shrine. Anyway, you end up kind of right near the main city, so you're ready to jump into all the adventure hooks and everything. All right, we're going to head out to the west, southwest kind of. See, we have a mix of old and new creatures up here. We've got some harpies up in the higher elevations, and hopefully we'll stumble upon some of the newer creatures as we go. One of the things I like, the world builders have done a nice job of representing each of the 3 biomes we have. The southwest area of High Isle is very protected. It's almost like Southern Europe or the Mediterranean, where it's kind of tends to have warmer climes, sunnier, less rain, but very temperate. We got all these beautiful sunflower fields growing here. We call this the Sapphire Coast because it just kind of shines. Just a beautiful area. Oh, let's avoid some of those bad guys there. They've ambushed a caravan. There's another ship sailing off in the distance. But over here, we've got one of our first occurrences of a volcanic vent. This is our world event for High Isle. Basically, there are a number of these vents scattered all over High Isle and the sister isle of Aminos. These, due to some events that you're going to uncover, the tectonic nature of the archipelago has really started, well, heating up, for lack of a better term. And if this event were active, then there would be flames coming out of that rupture there. There would be monsters spawning, and you would have to help a friendly druid keep the vent from basically exploding and helping ruin High Isle. Like our other events, like the Harrow Storms and Greymore, you can track them on your map once you've discovered them. It'll show you which ones are active. You can rush to them to participate. They do not move around like the dragons of elsewhere or anything, so they're always in the same location. But there are a good number of them, so it's better to move around between them than to try and find one and just camp it. There are also daily quests that will reward you for helping out with those. So again, heading more along High Isle. This is another thing over here. This is a smaller vent. We have these small lava vents. These are kind of like minor incursions or something. They will usually spawn a number of smaller groups of monsters. Like here's one of our new one, a Volkesh. This is like a lava lizard. It is a creature that is not native to High Isle. It's actually native to the area below High Isle, but has come up because of the tectonic disturbances. If you kill enough of these creatures at these lava vents, then you can gain a reward. But let's keep moving for now. Okay. As we head off, we start to see a few more trees and everything. This is as we're still in the Sapphire Coast, but we're getting closer to the border to Oakenwald, our second biome.
I should say that the Sapphire Coast is in inspired by like Southern European or Mediterranean biome. So it's rocky areas. The buildings are a little more Breton in nature because this is where they settled because it's kind of their vacation hotspot. And we get into the slightly more wild areas as we traverse north.
So we're about to head to one of the key locations on the Sapphire Coast other than Gonfalon Bay, and that is Castle Nevir. Castle Nevir is traditionally the home of the Breton lords that rule the Isle. Currently, that is House Dufort. House Dufort was appointed by the leader of the Bretons to, to rule over the island, and basically they're in charge. They can lose this sponsorship if they, mess up or displease the Lord. But right now, House Dufort is in charge of Castle Nevir. And so here we've got one of our big classic Breton castles. Turns out that the current head of House Dufort, Lady Leia Dufort, she's a duchess. She is very into the idea of chivalry and Breton ideals and such. So she is constantly holding tournaments uh, at Castle Nevir. And so as we see, we have a number of knightly orders set up shop. This is, I believe, the camp for the knightly order of the Oaken Order. And we have a couple of others, and they're competing in an upcoming tournament to see who are the biggest, bravest, baddest knights around. Uh, House Dufort, though, also makes its money and its name by shipbuilding. High Isle, being an island, is naturally dependent upon shipping, so House Dufort has kind of a uh, not exactly a monopoly on shipbuilding, but they are pretty pretty big deal when it comes to that. So, but this is the tournament ground. It's all set up in preparation for the tournament. You have a quest that involves some elements of the tournament, but you can come up here. You can see people are getting ready to watch the tournament. There are a small number of people and there are a few knights here who are, doing little practice runs.
This objective is also one of our two companion objectives. This is where you unlock Isabel. She is our night companion, not shockingly.
Yep.
And that's the objective quest. Yeah, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
This area turned out really awesome.
Yep. We also take you here during the main quest, so you'll have a number of opportunities to visit. But okay, so that's enough of Castle Nevir for now. We're going to head off a little bit to the north. We're going to head towards Oakenwald. We've got a couple of stops before we get there. So one of the things we love to do is we have a main quest that tells a particular story. And as Jeremy hinted, this is more of a political story than, some big earth-shaking.
I think you're going the wrong way, dude. Oh, never mind. You're totally not. Never mind.
That's okay.
I'll let you tour guide.
So if you look on your map, you'll see that in the center of the island is an islet, a all flags isle. We're not heading there right now, but we are heading along these locks. These locks were actually built by the people who mustered the All Flags Navy because they wanted to have a safe harbor where their leaders and stuff could meet. That's another one of our kind of newish creatures. This is a Haj Moda, but it's a specific build for this zone. You can notice it's kind of a jeweled looking creature. Um, and I was going to show you one of the other places. We like to have emerging stories that tell uh, the story of the island without necessarily tying you into the main story. And one of them is kind of told by this delve up here. It's called the Firepot. And as I mentioned, due to things that are going on in the main story, the tectonic activity around the island has gotten much worse. So this delve recently appeared, and people are exploring it, and you basically get to help them out. Or you can just go in here on your own or on a daily quest or something. But the Firepot shows uh, some of that, conflict of nature versus events. So like right in here, this is a, kind of an interior exterior delve. You can see parts of the sky, and we've got trees and such growing, and it looks fairly normal. But just go a little bit further, and things start to heat up, quite literally. Uh, we've got pools of magma. We've got more of these, imps and creatures that are not really native to High Isle. More of the Volkesh, various different sizes and abilities. And there's even, if you look up on the ledges, we've got these, magma monsters, Atronox and things, just throwing fire down that'll hurt you. So it's just a very different and disruptive area, and it's not something that the people of High Isle are super comfortable with. They don't know a lot about it. So as an adventurer, it's up to you to kind of explore and figure out the secret to what's going on down here. All right. We don't need to run through this whole thing. I was going to way shrine out of here to one of our other nearby objectives. So I'll way shrine, and then you guys can follow me. And obviously, of course, PTS is up. So if we hit something that you want to look at more, you're certainly more than welcome to log into PTS on your own and take a look.
You notice I have Isabel out that is our other companion. Oh. We may come along and see her a little later. But both of our companions have, in addition to the objective that you unlock them, they have 3 storylines that are personal storylines to them. So as you advance rep throughout the game, with your companion, you unlock these storylines.
One of the fun things. Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. And I will say that is actually one more than we did in our previous release of Blackwood, because we felt like we wanted to tell a bit of a deeper story. So there's one more personal story. So,
and of course, each of the companions has things that they like or have a preference for or against. Like Isabel, for example, doesn't like it if you steal. Ember, our other companion, kind of does. And they have certain foes and everything. See, we're still missing a couple of people, I think. Solifane and, of course, Slardy. If you look at, while we're waiting for them, if you take a look at me, by the way, I'm wearing one of the armor sets from High Isle. This is the Steadfast Metal set. There are a number of new sets and crafting things and everything, so there's lots of new gear. Okay, and this, by the way, where we've just ended up, we were talking about druids earlier. This is Stonelore Grove. This is one of our other this is our minor city. There's a vendor here, and there's, of course, an objective quest. But this is where kind of the headquarters of the local druids are. It's a druid village. You'll notice that right in the center of the village, there is a lava pool, and some people are sitting around meditating around it. That's because on High Isle, they've always had to deal with the tectonic activity. So these druids are very kind of into the idea of the lifeblood of the earth and the fiery heart and all that sort of thing. So they're very much into the idea of volcanic activity. That doesn't mean they're not worried. That's why they help you when you try and stop the volcanic vent activity. But they are, in tune with nature, and that also fits in with Breton, because Bretons aren't just knights and chivalry. They're also very magical and very into druids. We don't have representation of weirds on this island because this is where the druids ended up after kind of a historical split, which you can research more on your own if you'd like.
This is also one of 3 different druid circles. These are the Stonelore. They're the ones that you work with the most. They represent the friendlier faction. There's also the Fire Song and the Eldertide druids that you will meet throughout the year of story.
We're not quite as friendly. All right. So, heading along to the north, and now we are entering Oakenwald, the northern area. This is more Northern European. You'll see a lot of the trees as we get uh, further into like the forested regions. A lot of the trees are larger, thicker. Um, the weather is a little bit more severe. We're still not getting, snow or anything. This is still a, you know, very temperate island. While a lot of the vegetation and stuff is reminiscent of, say, Germany, Middle European. It is still not a cold area.
I
Oh,
cannot believe what I saw.
sorry, I hit a button and
My
got
own
myself
eyes.
messed up.
He's
Off to
gone.
our west here
It can't be.
is Death's Valor Keep. This is another one of our delves. We're not going to go in this one, but you can get at least a good look at it. As you can see, it's another older castle. When you go in, you'll notice that it is a little bit more ruined, a little bit more overgrown, because the knightly order that uh, built it sailed off with the All Flags Navy and was never heard from again. You have to go in there and you know find out some of the mysteries and things involved with that.
You hold up a second.
Certainly.
All right, there we are. Cool. We just weren't quite all together.
Oh no, that's good. Yeah, if I am ever moving too fast, or if you have questions, or whatever, please chime in because, um, I'm very excited to show all this to you. So I probably maybe rush through a little bit more than I should.
It is fun.
Yeah.
And again, look how much thicker the trees are and how rockier it is. Definitely looks like a different area.
hmm And we'll have some different creatures appearing too. I'm hoping we kind of run into them. Uh, right now, I'm kind of heading toward the northern coast. Uh, Again, this is the Sistra's archipelago. That's important to know that there are multiple islands as part of the archipelago, and we're going to get to see another one of them in just a second. There we go. As we come up to the northern section, we can actually see from various perches the the volcanic island of Yiflon. Uh, it is just to the north. If you look on your map, it is just that big island to the northwest. It's not part of this. You don't visit that as part of this chapter, um, but it does play an important role. I'm not going to spoil it, but we get a good view of it from several locations along the northern island, and I wanted to point it out because I think it's really cool. I think the world builders did a nice job with it. Um, it'll be worth coming back and looking at again sometime as you're on the main quest. Hint, hint. Okay. Let me see. I don't want to overdo our time, so I'm going to do another way shrine jump. Head us over to the east a little bit.
We're actually very close to another objective called Garrett's Rest, where there is a necromancer that's causing havoc with the ghost that is supposed to protect an important relic that is there.
Yeah, that's a very fun objective. I personally have a fondness for ghosts, and this one has a fun bit where you have to help the ghost out of some difficulty, and you have to get involved very strongly with the knightly orders. So over here, uh, this is this is not an objective. This is just some emergent content here that we have. This is the Dufort Shipyards. Remember, I mentioned House Dufort is big on uh, ships and such. Well, they have uh, built a shipyard up here, and there's some definite interesting content involved around this. We're not going to go too far in because I don't want to spoil it. But this is again you can see ships being constructed. Uh, there is a boat here that will take you to Aminos. We're not quite ready to go there yet. Uh, I mean, spoiler, Jeremy, I was going to go down to Tor Draok, our other companion objective first, unless you think we should just jump over to Aminos now. Uh,
It's up to you. I mean,
uh,
we have a little extra time. Normally, we'd have only 20 minutes, so we're doing pretty well. If you want to run over there real quick, it is very
yeah,
unique.
let's,
You could
yeah,
also
let's,
jump to it.
okay, yeah, let's jump to it again. Sorry for the multiple jumps. I probably should have just jumped to there first, but um, I did want to show off the thing. So, okay, yeah, we're going to take a jump to Tor Draok. Uh, so again, we've talked about chivalry, we've talked about druids. Well, we have another aspect of the Bretons, and that's wizardry, flat out, Merlin style magic. And this objective is really devoted to that. When you guys get here, I think you'll sort of see that. And this is, as Jeremy pointed out, the second of our companion quests. This is where you get to unlock Ember, our wizardly companion, although she even has kind of a unique background and everything. Uh, I really love the backstories. They did this. One of our senior designers, Janet Priblo, and two of our writers, Michael Zanke and Taylor Sear, spent a long time making sure that both Ember and Isabel's stories were very unique, both unique to them, but also unique to all of our companions. Uh, I think it's honestly going to be very difficult to choose which companion to adventure with, of the cool four we're going to have. So here in Tor Draok, we've got these magical moats that are causing trouble, and you're going to have to help Ember deal with the issue. Um,
Issue that she may well have caused.
yeah, I wasn't going to point the finger at her, but yeah, as you can see, this is like just a wizard's environment. There's this kind of cool ramshackly tower with some support buildings around, but there's a disturbing lack of people, and that's part of what you're going to have to deal with. Is like what happened to all the people who were in this tower, in and around this tower, supporting this thing, because this is not like some evil wizard who's off, uh, doing horrible things. Uh, he's just this dude that Ember studies with, and well, unfortunately, there's a problem. Oh, look, and there is right now it says Slarty's companion, but that is basically Ember right there. You'll see her as a bestower as you walk in. I kind of avoided running through her.
Yeah, I like her. She's got a lot of attitude
Yep.
in a good
Uh,
way.
yep. And of course she's a
Do we
Khajiit.
want to
Oh,
just jump straight to Aminos versus running back to the boat?
I was just going to run quick over to Spire of the Crimson Coin.
Oh, cool. Sounds good.
But
Yeah, one
then,
of our
yes,
public mentions.
yeah, right. We have two public dungeons in this, and of course a trial. I kind of skipped the trial because that's really more for Finnegan to show you guys. But here we have Spire of the Crimson Coin. This is the home of a legendary uh, necromancer, long since dead, and the players get to go out there and explore the Spire of the Crimson Coin. You can see it off on this dock. It's got its own little island, and I will say that it is kind of like the antithesis of the Wizard's Tower we just visited, whereas the Wizard of Tordraok is kind of benign uh, student. The people who live in the Spire of Crimson Corn are in no way benign. Uh, Okay, I'm going to jump to Aminos. So I open up my map. The northern isle, second isle of this package is Aminos, whereas we have Sapphire Coast, which is southern European, Oakenwald, which is northern European. Aminos is really more kind of South Pacific jungle island, and it makes a certain amount of sense because this is the island that kind of shields the rest of the archipelago from a lot of the harsher weather and everything. So it gets hot, it gets humid. It's raining right now, and it's gonna be raining a lot in this area, and that's just the way it is. There is a small village here, but other than that, this is a prison island. This was built. Well, the island wasn't built, but the fortifications such built on this island were done during a very dark time where the coin lords used to keep slaves and things like that. And after that, it became a place where political prisoners, really bad prisoners, like really terrible murderers and stuff, were sent. And the only place on Aminos that is relatively safe is Aminos Station, this little village that we're in right now. Um, and you'll notice that there's a stockade right here, and that's where prisoners are processed. And to be honest, a prisoner who's in the stockade or lurking around the village hopes to stay here because the alternative is getting banished to the island of Aminos, and that is more like a jungle version of um, Escape from New York. I mean, it is uh, dark, it is deadly. There are monsters, there are prison gangs, um, and we're going to go out there because that's what we do as adventurers. I also think the island is absolutely beautiful, as cool as High Isles biomes are. Aminos takes uh, takes us in another new direction. We've had some jungles and stuff before, but I don't think we've had some really terrific, rainforests and all that. So heading out of these gates, this is the last bit of civilization. If you look at the architecture, this is another example of old architecture, but very military, very old coin lords sort of thing. It's imposing and it's supposed to be. Prisoners who were sent out here are not allowed back in. In fact, there's even a rumor that there's basically a curse put on you when you're sent out in here, and that if you leave the island, you'll just die. Uh, we don't know if that's true or not because people don't really get to escape the island. As a player, of course, you can go on here without being cursed, at least as far as you know. Uh, so again,
The inspiration for this area is more like a Hawaiian area. So think Hawaiian rainforest.
yep. Now because fell into the deeper water. Oh, piranha. Uh, so again, just really beautiful. These waterfalls and everything. I think, as I mentioned, one of the other zones I worked on as a lead was Merkmire, and when we decided we wanted to do this area as jungle, we wanted to do that, but we wanted to make sure it wasn't just Merkmire 2.0, or Shadowfen, 3.0 or whatever. So the coastline, as you can see, very jagged, very foggy. That's intentional. The idea is that sailing in and out of Aminos just isn't easy. I mean, Aminos Station is about the only docking area that's safe, uh, and we wanted to make sure that this area felt really unique and dangerous, but could still be beautiful. We had talked about other possible environments. Over here, you'll notice we've got more of these lava vents. That implies that we will also have the volcanic vents, which we definitely do, because High Isle isn't the only island of the archipelago that's been affected by the new tectonic activity. The islands appear on one of our maps as the Sistras Archipelago,
Okay.
and High Isle is referenced, but that's really it. So yeah, we kind of had to make it up. We knew it was uh, Breton centric, but we had to basically build everything off of existing lore and come up with it ourselves. But like, for example, our fiction writers did a wonderful job of taking what lore did exist, like for example the story of the All Flags Navy, and working that in. I mean, you have basically one line of lore that says, "Oh yeah, the All Flags Navy set out from High Isle to go fight the Slode." Well, they built up a whole history around that. We've got characters, we've got legends, we've got stories, all this sort of thing. We knew that the coin lords had, forts, and that they were uh, they kept slaves. So they built that into the idea of this being a prison island, and and sort of the Escape from New York vibe and all that sort of thing. So it's all derived from existing ESO lore, but yeah, we pretty much had to make it all up ourselves.
Okay. The main thing that we know about the lore of this area is that it was a staging point for the All Flags Navy.
Mhm.
Beyond that, a lot of that it was just inspiration more than anything else, which was wonderful.
Yep.
Very cool to get to add our own bits every now and again. The Druid lore, Druids for the most part have only been referenced once in a screen loading tip.
Yep.
So we had an opportunity to really flesh that out, which has been a lot of fun. I mean, we're not saying these are the only Druids, but the Druids that we're representing from this area, this is how they are.
Yep.
I think we're all back now at this point.
Yeah, I think so. So right here to the north, by the way, you can see what looks like sort of a makeshift camp. And if you hover over one of these one of these bipeds here, you'll see that they're the Green Serpents. That's the predominant prison gang on uh, Aminos Station. They're still prisoners. They're stuck here. But as you can see, they've actually tried to make sort of a life for themselves. And you don't want to mess with them. Uh, and off to the east here, I'm coming up on one of our other public dungeons. I mentioned how I kind of have a fondness for ghosts. Well, I also have a fondness for pirates, and we have a delve here that the designers seem to make just for me, called Ghost Haven Bay. Here we have a quest bestower who is a sort of a pirate privateer, and he wants you to go in and explore the Ghost Haven Bay, which is a legendary hideout for what used to be a powerful pirate fleet. And we're going to take a brief look inside. Unfortunately, we won't get too far into it because it's just huge. Um, but this is a place where a group of pirate ships, they banded together and were a real serious force around the Sistras archipelago until well, I don't want to spoil too much of the story, but until they got trapped by a larger force. And when they did, they got stuck in here, and Elder Scrolls being what it is, there was a curse and there was some evil and stuff. And oh, here's one of our
You
new
just fizzled
monsters,
a
the
bit. You still
Hadalids.
there?
But basically the remnants of the pirates can be found deeper into the cave, and you have to help uh, your quest giver figure out what's going on. But then, of course, this being a public dungeon, you'll be coming back in here multiple times for loot and all this other stuff. Um, by the way, these Hadalids are a new creature for our zone. They are intelligent. As you can see, they wield weapons, but we can't communicate with them. They're kind of like uh, goblins in that way, where they are tool users. Uh, they are uh, communal, but they are not somebody we can uh, parlay with. It's unfortunate because I think they're kind of cool looking. Um, as with all of our dungeons, it's built for group play, so I'm glad you guys are around with me. When I run in here on my own, I have to be all sneaky. Otherwise, I'll just get killed. And the
Public dungeon, so it is geared towards groups of 2 as opposed to our group dungeons, which are groups of 4. Or our trials, which are groups of 12. I think you all know that anyway, just making sure.
Still good to be said. And as you notice, the environment starts to change a little bit. We came in and it was still very jungly. Now we're getting into more of these sort of shipwrecks. These are vessels that the pirates brought here a long time ago and hid. And oh, here's one of our bosses, Captain Altair. You'll learn, one of the pirate captains who led his sailors here, and they were trapped. And no matter how many backflips he does, he is stuck here. Yay, loot. Okay. Um, anyway, as we go further and further in, the jungle section kind of falls away and becomes more of a cave thing with more of the wreckage and everything. Let me see, how are we doing on time?
We probably should jump to the next bit. You want to just
Yeah,
jump straight to Skulltooth?
that was my plan. All right, I'm going to use the Serpent's Hollow Way Shrine because I think that gives us our best route in. guys can follow me. Uh, as with all of our zones, there are a number of objectives and objective quests. We have them spread out both on High Isle and Aminos. Obviously, High Isle being larger, it has a few more objectives than Aminos, but there's reasons for you to adventure pretty much every corner of the zone. We have delves, obviously the public dungeons, which we were just visiting, um, and we have a number of objectives even hidden out in here. There's one objective we're not going to visit today called Broke Rock Mine that is run by the other noble house, House Mornard. They basically, when they lost control of High Isle, they oh, I'm sorry, I didn't wait for everybody. They got control of Aminos and basically have full use of prison uh, labor and such like that. So
And
go away,
Aminos
wasp
is
queen.
attached via several different ship points,
Mhm.
just to ensure that you can find your way around, in addition to way shrines. But
Yep.
the Dufort dockyards, where we went at one point, there's a ship that takes you there, and there's a ship that takes you there from Gonfalon Bay.
Mhm. Okay. So here, we also have a number of recurring characters in the zone. We already saw Jakarn. Uh, this is Captain Jamila. She's appeared in Aldmeri Dominion area. Currently, it looks like she's lost her ship and her quartermaster Oblin, and so she's going to want your help uh, finding and rescuing her ship and her crew member. So we're going to go into Skulltooth Coast, which has a legend almost as nasty as Ghost Haven Bay. And as you see, we see lots of shipwrecks. Uh, the area around Aminos, like I said, is very treacherous for ships. Anybody who tries to put in anywhere other than Aminos Station is taking their life in their hands. Captain Jamila is an accomplished privateer, so presumably she was able to get here close, but she ended up running afoul of somebody. And as part of the objective, we're going to get to see who that somebody is.
Nice to be able to bring recurring characters back. We really enjoy them as much as our audience does. In addition to Jamila, Riggers the Brash makes an appearance, as well as Stibbins and Laurent.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's more. That's the only ones I can think of right off. Oh well, there's actually the. Don't tell anybody because it would be spoilers. But there are several alliance leaders
Mm-hmm.
that come back.
I took the wrong path. And we also have recurring villains in a way, not necessarily individuals, but here you can see the dread sails. Oh, you guys already found one. The sea elves are back. You know, naturally, it being an island kingdom with lots of pirates and things like that, we couldn't do this without having the Mayormer make an appearance. So we've got sea elves in this objective and in a couple of other areas. And they, of course, have brought their serpent pets, and they've uh, taken ownership of the Ornogs here. Oddly enough, in one of our other delves, you'll find that the sea elves come into particularly strong conflict with the Hadalids. That doesn't mean they won't try and kill you, but apparently the Hadalids and the sea elves do not get along.
Such a cool little prop, the
I
skeleton
know.
on the wheel. I love the little things that the world builders do.
I have a question.
Sure.
What was the most fun part of creating High Isle?
Oh boy.
If you have to pick one
So
thing.
so the whole team. One of the things I remember is a little over. Jeremy and I actually sat down with a work in progress zone design document where we.
Over here, I could use your help.
Yeah, let me swap to my answer. So there's a number of really cool things. my job is to kind of have some of the larger broad strokes ideas in mind, and I love the idea that we came to a place that we've never been before. Bretons have always been fun to me. I'm maybe I'm a bit biased too because I worked on that entire zone, or that entire. Honestly, I've worked on like 8 of the original Alliance zones, but they've always had a real near and dear place in my heart. So being able to take and expand on that lore has been really awesome. And then we have spent a while now working on these giant, interdimensional or interplanal battles, and it was really cool to do something that's more akin to like the Rothgar storyline or the Orsinium storyline, where it's more about the politics and the people. So that was fun too. And also, I guess I'm answering several. The idea of bringing the Alliance leaders back, and I'm spoiling things, of course, but the king of the Daggerfall Covenant and the king of the Queen Irene, and then if you have seen it, we didn't have Yoren, we had Yoren's son, who is Ernskar. I named a whole bunch of things, but there you go. I get excited.
I see. Is there anything that you and your team felt that we could have done this area better?
That's a hard one. I mean, I'm honestly, I'm very happy with how things turned out. We've had an opportunity to take the time that we needed, and I think that has helped. There's not an area that I'm particularly disappointed with as far as that goes. I think they all work pretty well together, and there are a number of different areas.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that was a challenge was trying to make sure that we were able to provide enough interesting play space, have the 3 biomes that we feel very comfortable with, and also break it out into 2 islands. It's hard sometimes for us to really convey to the players how much space there is, especially when you go from place to place using boats and things. So we made a real effort to make High Isle feel big and open and inviting, just to make sure that people got that sense that there is the space that is, what you would expect. And for the record, there is. It is, it's the same size as most of our chapters, just done a bit differently.
Okay, and my last question. Where in High Isle or Aminos will you spend the most time when the new chapter release?
So in this chapter, you spend probably 2/3 of the zone story will be more on High Isle, but a lot of that is a building action to get you to Aminos. I don't want to spoil the story, but yeah. The first thing you do is you learn about the Bretons and the Druids, and then you go to Aminos because there are people that are missing and you want to find them, and then you return to High Isle. So you'll spend a lot of time in both, but zone story-wise, if you were going to go straight through the zone story, the more time would be spent probably in High Isle.
Mm-hmm. But where will you, as a player?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Specifically. Oh, man,
yeah.
I didn't even, I'm getting jumped. I like High Isle a lot. I love the idea of the dailies and running through those areas. So probably I will spend most of my days grabbing the dailies, doing runs around the volcanic vents, and then doing 1 or 2 of the delves. Those are the things that appeal to me because honestly, I'm a voracious player. I will finish the zone story in a couple days.
Amazing.
I'm excited to. So after that, it's the next thing. Also, I'm super excited to open up Ember. I'm biased. I'm more of a bad guy character in general. So Ember is more my slant. But I'm excited to get her adventuring with me and actually go out and do her personal story because I think it's really cool. I think Isabel's is too. Like I said,
Amazing.
she just resonates with me. So yes, I would say repeatables and then leveling up Ember as fast as possible. I chose Miri for the record as opposed to Bastion. Of course, I have them both. But Miri resonated a bit better with me because she had a bit more attitude.
Yeah, they are both special, Miriam and Bastion.
Building on an already existing story, like you did in the last two chapters with Skyrim and Oblivion, or building a complete new chapter?
Uh, I'm gonna say I like my chocolate with my peanut butter. I like them both. It's different times. So it was amazing to do the Blackwood storyline and have the year end and have the epic battle with Mehrunes Dagon, who was way larger than life. I loved that, and Oblivion was one of the things that actually brought me into this franchise many years ago, maybe more than I should say. But it was something that has always resonated. So being able to do that and go into those different planes was really cool. That said, one of the things that we as developers often chomp at the bit about is there's so much territory. We have so many stories we want to tell, but don't tell anybody. I was really excited to kind of get off of the continent, even if it's just a little ways off, to tell something that nobody had ever seen. So that was really cool to me to be able to expand the world, even if it's just a little bit, in a way that nobody had ever seen before. So honestly, both. But next time, maybe we'll shift back the other way. I can't tell you. I actually totally could, but I won't tell you. But I'm very excited about what we're continuing to work on.
Okay, and what is easier in building for the team? So having an existing layer of story or building something completely new?
Well, they both have unique challenges. So let me start with the more recent. To build onto the Breton lore, we first have to know the Breton lore extremely well. We have to know the parts that don't exist and how we can build into them. That actually has us working really closely with BGS, which is kind of exciting, to make sure that we're paying off each other's stories well. So that's got its own unique challenge. The other side, though, is that all of the other areas, like Oblivion, for example, or I should say maybe Dagon, the Deadlands, it's pretty well known by a lot of people. So trying to pay it off in a way that's meaningful to people can be hard. One of the neat things for me about the Deadlands was adding those new bits in. For example, the new biome areas that we'd never been to, because everybody's been to that one lava, Oblivion area in the Deadlands, but nobody had ever seen the other side. And I'm blanking on what we called that space, the dust area. But it's really cool to get a chance to pay that off, but also do it in a way that feels meaningful to people that care so much about the lore.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
I don't have any. Thank you.
Awesome. So as always, if you have questions later, you're welcome to reach out, and we will do the best that we can to answer them. The card game is ranked. Is that what you're asking? So Tribute, and I'm going to take a guess. Tribute actually has a leaderboard, and it is a long-term leaderboard. So there are actually special rewards and things that you get from that for playing PvP. I'm biased. I'm the story guy. I really like the PvE story for Tribute, but I'm also very excited to get to play with my friends. We play regularly, so I'm excited to actually get some real competition in. Tribute, it's actually, I think that's going to be really cool, and it's going to help add something to the game in much the way that the Antiquities systems did. So I'm looking forward to having another sort of gameplay that I can do when I'm up for it.